We heard Brandon Beane last week say the offense is still searching for its identity. If you had to put your description on the offense and a potential identity right now, what would you say it is based on your observations, if there is one?
It's not that the Buffalo Bills offense lacks identity, it's just that our identity is very difficult to win with. And the supposed lack of identity on offense dates back to the Brian Daboll days, and we all know this offense is really based on the foundation of Brian Daboll. You could see this article here dating in 2019, specifically stating that the Bills are trying a little bit of everything as they search for an identity on offense. This article states the mystery of Brian Daboll's identity. This article states, does Brian Daboll's offense have an identity? And the lack of identity has continued with Brian Daboll to the New York Giants. This article states, Giants looking to solidify identities on offense and defense. What is the Buffalo Bills offensive identity? And to me, I've been saying it for years, it is a chameleon type identity. Now, we all know chameleons have the ability to change their colors. And what I mean by that is that the Buffalo Bills offense adapts to the opposing team's defense. If they want to play us a certain way, we adapt as an offense versus strictly being a ground and pound team, say like the Baltimore Ravens, like the Tennessee Titans. The ability to adapt to opposing defenses works in the NFL, but it is extremely difficult to do. You need the player personnel to do it. You have to have the players that are able to run block and also pass block. You have to have the team to be able to run the ball, or you have to have the team to just go 5 wide spread offense and throw the ball. And one team that was excellent at adapting was the New England Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Offensively, they could pass the ball around, they can ground and pound it, they could just do a little bit of everything. And sure enough, Brian Daboll spending 10 years with Bill Belichick and the Patriots, really his offense comes from that New England tree. I think that is what the Buffalo Bills are trying to establish. Listen to Dan Orlovsky on One Bills Live talking about the Buffalo Bills identity.
I really don't think they have a schematic identity. I think they have a philosophical identity, and that seems to be, in my opinion, reactive instead of proactive. This is why I say the identity is a little bit reactive. We know teams want to play Josh a certain way, Patrick Mahomes a certain way, Joe Burrow. They want to play these guys a certain way. Those two safeties, Shell, they're forcing you to play to the way that they want you to play. My gripe a little bit with Buffalo's offense, it's almost they oblige to that too much. Like, all right, we'll play the way you want us to play. And it's almost, you got to be in the mindset of like, no. We're going to do things so you as a defense don't get to play the way that you want to play. Can't always be like, all right, we'll play to the style that you want us to and this and that, and never do things to a defense to force the defense to then go, well, we can't play this style anymore. We have to adjust.
Facts are the Buffalo Bills offense, Ken Dorsey, dating back all the way to Brian Daboll, we have put so much on the plate of this Buffalo Bills offense, on the plate of Josh Allen, on the plate of all of our wide receivers, on this offensive line as well. It really is a tough task to ask these players to adapt, to change their colors throughout the game, to really find our identity each and every single week. Without having a set in stone identity, it makes things extremely difficult. But in reality, having this complex of an offense, we saw it work with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in New England, the dynasty that they had, an almost unstoppable offense. You have to have the players on that offense that could do a little bit of both. So what is it that the Buffalo Bills lack here? John Madden's philosophy was to start games offensively with what you will most likely struggle at throughout the game. So whether the Buffalo Bills feel as though that we're going to struggle running the ball against an opponent, we should start the game trying to run the ball and stay committed to it. We've seen Josh Allen be able to score with seconds remaining on the clock. Now I believe in Josh Allen. I don't want to wait until way late in the game, but I think through the first quarter of games, we should really be trying to dictate and do what we feel as though are going to struggle with throughout the game. I know we always hear Ken Dorsey and the Buffalo Bills talking about putting our players in the best position to succeed. Well, if we are this chameleon type offense, we might not be putting our players in the best position to succeed. And I'm not saying to just bail on the first quarter of games, but I really think we have to try to dictate at the beginning of games. But I really feel as though the Bills should start games trying to do what their most difficult task is going to be against that specific opponent. And if we stick to it, if we stay committed towards that, it should ultimately open up things later in the game for what we are best at. I don't think it's that Buffalo Bills lack an identity. I just think that it's our identity that is very difficult to win with. Knowing that it's this chameleon type identity, some people want to say it's a backyard football highlight play Josh Allen type identity, which it is at times too, but the Buffalo Bills, we could do a little bit of everything. And we saw it against the Bengals. We got away from running the ball extremely early in the game. And yes, we were down 21-7 in the second quarter, and I really think it was because the Buffalo Bills didn't start the game trying to run the ball. We did start the game in a no-huddle, hurry-up offense, but as Ken Dorsey said in his press conference interview, that communication was a struggle. That silent count and the no-huddle really disturbed a lot of communication on this offense, and we saw a lot of mishaps between Josh Allen and Gabe Davis not being on the same page, one resulting in an interception, one resulting in an intentional grounding. Those option routes that the Buffalo Bills call really require a lot of communication. And if you go back to that Bengals game, I know in the first drive we scored a touchdown, but the lack of commitment to actually running the ball with Josh Allen under center. Sean McDermott said the RPO, us trying to run the ball, it really isn't that true of a run. The RPO style running attack really isn't that big of a threat of running the football. When you look at all the teams that lead the league in rushing on an annual basis, it is never from the RPO style offense. It is with that quarterback under center. And just like Dan Orlovsky said, another way you can dictate to opponents is the play action pass.
There's two ways to take shots or chunks in this league. There's two ways. You either have a freak that wins one-on-one coverage, or you play action them out of it.
By the Buffalo Bills not establishing a run, we're taking away things from this offense. We're taking away things from our offensive identity, which is this chameleon type, change your colors, adapt to the opposing team type offensive identity. We know Josh Allen and what this offense is capable of running up that score. You know, I don't think we should be afraid of being down by 2 possessions, especially super early in games. Josh Allen is capable of making every throw on the field. He's capable of running it. He's capable of passing it. We're capable of doing so much. But what ends up happening is when you are down by 2 possessions and you feel that urgency and you're playing against not only that opponent but also the clock, we get away from running the football, which ultimately takes away the play action and really doesn't open up this offense to be able to adapt and change our colors to that team. I don't think the Buffalo Bills lack an identity. I'm calling it a chameleon type identity, and I really think it's just a very hard identity to win with. All the players need to be super versatile. They have to be able to do both. They have to do all sorts of different things. You have to have different players that can do different things. That's why we saw 11 personnel, 12 personnel with Dawson Knox. We're seeing a mixture of things that this Buffalo Bills offense is capable of doing. We've seen a lot of Josh Allen under center in 2023, more so than any other year in the past. And when Ken Dorsey talks about finding a groove, finding a rhythm in games, I think the Bills would benefit from starting the game doing with what we feel as though is going to be most difficult to perform later in the game. If the Bills start the game doing with what is most difficult and having that commitment to doing that, maybe it changes what the defense does against us and then opens up furthermore what we will excel at later in the game. I know we want to start fast. We don't want to start slow, but we really don't know what these opposing defenses are going to do against the Buffalo Bills and how they're going to play us. I think it makes sense. They're going to look at us and be like, hey, look, they're not going to run the ball against us here because we're so great at stopping the run. And I think teams go against Josh Allen, this Buffalo Bills high-powered offense with Stephon Diggs and now Dalton Kincaid. They're going to be playing the pass early in games. So I really like this philosophy from John Madden, and I hope the Buffalo Bills will do it. Let me know in the comments down below, do you think the Bills offense lacks identity, or do you think that the Buffalo Bills offensive identity is just ultra complex? I want to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, it really mean the world if you hit like. That's how you support my efforts for making videos just like this. Subscribe for future content too. I am going live during every single game, occasionally throughout the week too as well. But I appreciate you guys so much. This Buffalo Bills team is still trending up, and I hope you check out my previous video about Kaizen, the need to continuously improve. Appreciate you guys, and go Bills.